Writing for Design 101. So what is writing for design? Well, copy for e-commerce emails is most effective when it's concise and when it's easy to read. Again, we talked about making things really skimmable just a moment ago. But on average, people receive 121 emails a day. I can vouch for this. So that means that you've only got a really small window to grab their attention, to keep their attention, and to really hook them. So what is the best way to hook the reader? Well, the best thing to do is create copy that complements the design. So if those two things work seamlessly together, if the reader can skim things, understand what's going on, feel that branded content. So maybe the copy is really on brand, the design is really on brand. They know who they're talking to. They know what this brand is about. Then you can hook them. So tip number 1, edit, then edit again. So make sure first that your copy has all of the crucial information. So all of the really important things that are mentioned. So sales, highlighted products, disclaimers, discount codes, CTAs. Of course, you want to make sure to include the branding, but make sure to include those things first. That's your first step. Then you have to decide what adds value. So we have some value points here. So selling points, your USPs for your product, for the service, the pain points that the customer is dealing with, sort of a bit of that storytelling around that, the solution that your product or service can provide, and then also the clarity surrounding those pain points. Then when we talk about what you can include to add value, but in moderation, humor, if it's applicable, emotive language, again, more of that storytelling. And I would also say this is where more of that branding comes in. I think a lot of branding can come through when you add more words to an email, but knowing which words to add that can evoke that sense and give the reader that idea of, oh, okay, I know exactly who's talking to me, even if the text is maybe plain text or on a completely white background. Things to watch out for: too many adjectives. I know sometimes I'm guilty of this, but make sure that what you're adding provides value in some way. Long intros. People don't have time to read long intros. So make it short and sweet, try to condense it, try to make it really concise, but make it still appeal to the reader. So filler words, very, firstly, so, that, etc. And then rambling sentences. Sometimes they'll write something and I'll notice that I've written the same thing 2 different ways in 2 different sentences. So if you're like me, make sure to go back and edit and try to get rid of that. Make it really concise, make it value-packed. Brief copy makes room for images and graphics that support your message and draw your reader's attention. You know, pictures worth 1,000 words. Okay, tip number 2. When in doubt, use headers. So this is a really great tip. I love this one. So many of us will just try to write full sentences out, but I think headers can be just as effective as long as we know which words to use. So an email doesn't need to read like a book. Think of it more like writing for advertisements, you know, those big billboards that maybe just have one sentence or just a couple words. That's the vibe we're going for. Headers are a really simple and a really great way to format your email for design and make information a little bit more scannable. So if we look at this email rocket ship example, we have sort of smaller sections of copy and then different subheaders. So launch off the ground, what does that mean? Well, then you have a short sentence that explains it. Get into the orbit, start moving at light speed. So again, very branded, very fun, but also really enticing and a great way to get someone to read further into the copy. And same thing with this iPhone 15 email. So a little bit more, maybe not fully headers, but same sort of idea. You know, we're really calling out specific information to try to garner that interest. So we've got live activities that pops out. Awesome all-day battery life. Wow, that's cool. Get help off the grid. So all these great features that we can call out in a way that's really skimmable, really easy to read, and kind of sparks that interest. I don't have to work very hard to get this information. And tip number 3, let the products do the talking. So again, if you're like me, maybe you see a product block in the guidelines and you're like, oh, okay, well, I should explain what each of these do or explain the benefit or add some details in the copy. And sometimes clients want that. Sometimes they want a lot more information to go with those images. But a lot of the time, what works is keeping the copy short and sweet in the product blocks or including no copy at all. So designers will add enticing images that support the copy in order to really get all of that information across. And I think some of the brands that we look at, if you guys follow like Lululemon, for example, their product blocks are just the products, just the images. Maybe there's a short header, maybe there's a CTA, but a lot of the time it's just that, and that speaks for itself. Again, my favorite saying today, I guess, a picture is worth 1,000 words. So we have some examples here on the right. And so the first one here, we've got just the product blocks. And so that's strong enough, right? You have your section of text, you kind of explain what's going on. That's maybe a little bit longer for some people, but of course, do keep in mind the audience that you're trying to speak to. I know certain brands like Progressive NutriCare, for example, they're fine with emails that are super long. Because it's sort of an older audience and they're looking for that educational piece. Maybe that's what's going on here as well. But for others, we've got the one in the middle here. So pumpkin cookies, wild boar jerky, just really straightforward, good headers, short and sweet copy that calls out some key things. So fall in every bite and let them savor fall, protein packed and stuff like that. So the key things that you need to keep in mind. And same thing here with the last blush shampoo. So short and sweet is the way to go. And that's what most brands will prefer nowadays. Tip number 4, get the juiciest info in the hero. The hero is the most impactful part of the email. Why? Well, it's the first thing that customers see when they open up the email, right? So they don't have to do anything. They just open it up. It's there. Maybe they scroll a tiny bit, but most of the time it's just the very first piece. So when you pair really great, impactful, short and sweet copy with striking imagery, bold design, that is the best way to make an impact. So these are some examples here. There are so many good ones, but these are just a few. So from Headspace, a gift for your mind, start your journey with a 14-day free trial. So immediately stating that benefit. Then you have a really brief description with being offered plus a very actionable CTA. Same thing with the Sonos email in the middle. Like what you see, you like it even more when you listen, So branded, really fun, short and sweet. I don't have to really think about it. This is obviously for maybe a browse abandonment email or abandoned cart or something like that. And it's just there calling me back. And same thing with this last Keeps email. Word is getting out. Press caught wind of Keeps. They're impressed. Oh, if they're impressed, maybe I should be too. So try to get all that information in the hero. I know it can be really tempting. I know some of us like to create, very, very fancy, poetic heroes. And sometimes that's really great. Sometimes that works, but other times it's really impactful to just sort of lay out the offer or be clear about what the email is going to be about so that people can decide immediately what they want to do, if they want to continue reading, if they want to purchase, whatever it is. Tip number 5, reframe hard to digest sentences as questions. This is my favorite tip that Ruby put together here because I find it's such a good way to cut down on that excess information that maybe you don't need. So a couple examples. It's your last chance to save on those products you were interested in. This sentence already is a little bit roundabout. It's already kind of going around what we want them to do. We could have easily said it's your last chance to save. But another thing that we can do is transform that into a question. So still interested in item, it's your last chance to save 10% off. So very clear, the offer is there. You've even done a dynamic pull of the item. So hopefully that can get people to pay a little bit more attention to what's going on here. It's not just a generic email. Another example, we love fall fashion and we know you're going to love our new styles just as much. I love this one. Love fall fashion. So do we. Fall in love with our autumn drop. So really short and sweet. This also goes really well if you have a brand that's a little bit more direct, a little bit more bold, maybe a little bit edgier. You can use these questions and answer them in a really concise way. to bring that brand voice through. Questions are easy to break up and design into eye-catching headers. So just keep that in mind as well. It's a lot easier to throw a question in, plus a little bit of targeted direct copy than to throw an entire paragraph into an email.
Want to discover how much money your email marketing can actually bring you? If that's the case, let our team of email marketing experts show you how. With our free email marketing audit, we'll conduct a comprehensive analysis of your email marketing efforts, provide you with an action plan, and show you how to effectively segment and convert your audience. Simply go to flowium.com/audit and book your audit today.
Hey, if you're watching this and you like what you see, please hit subscribe and hit the bell because it helps us grow our channel.